In a quiet neighborhood on the edge of the city lived Elena, a hard-working single mother whose days began before sunrise and ended long after the world fell asleep. She carried her struggles silently, as if hardship had trained her to bury every bruise of life. Behind a soft smile, her 8-year-old son, Liam, was her whole world, gentle, shy, and far more sensitive than most children his age. Their lives were simple but full of love, though burdened by responsibilities Elena never asked for. One rainy evening, as she hurried through her shift at the local diner, a man named Adrian walked in. He didn't plan to stay long. He only wanted coffee to warm his cold hands. But the moment he saw Elena, her tired eyes, her calm voice, the warmth she radiated despite the exhaustion, something inside him paused. Adrian was the kind of man who built walls high enough to keep the world out. He had been broken before. Abandonment as a child, betrayal as an adult, a lifetime of disappointments that convinced him love was nothing but a beautiful lie. Yet something about Elena felt different, familiar, almost like a piece of peace he didn't realize he'd been searching for. He returned the next day, then the next, always telling himself he came for the food, though his eyes betrayed his heart every time. And each time Liam peeked from behind the counter, observing the quiet stranger who made his mother smile again. Slowly, Adrian and Elena started talking beyond menus and orders, about work, life, the weight of loneliness, and the small joys that still made life worth it. One evening, Adrian found Liam struggling with a school project. Instead of ignoring him, he knelt beside the boy and helped him fix the collapsing cardboard castle. That moment became the beginning of something neither expected, a fragile bond between a wounded man and a child yearning for a father figure. As weeks passed, Adrian found himself picking up groceries for them, repairing loose cabinet doors, helping Liam with homework, and sharing quiet conversations with Elena over cups of tea. He didn't feel like an outsider anymore, but just when everything seemed to be falling into place, Elena's past stormed back into her life. Marcus, her irresponsible ex-husband who had abandoned them years ago, suddenly demanded custody of Liam. His sudden reappearance shattered Elena's fragile stability. She withdrew emotionally, afraid that letting Adrian in would entangle him in chaos. Adrian, sensing her distance, panicked. Old fears resurfaced, the belief that he was never enough, that people always left, that he was destined to be alone. Instead of asking what was wrong, he convinced himself it was time to leave before he was pushed away. One evening, he arrived at Elena's apartment with the intention of saying goodbye. Elena opened the door with tired eyes, her face pale from stress. She tried to speak, but Adrian stepped back, forcing a stiff smile. "I think I've interfered too much in your life," he said, his voice cracking despite his attempt to sound strong. "Maybe it's best if I leave you two alone." Elena's lips parted, but fear choked her words. She watched helplessly as he turned and walked toward the elevator. With each step he took, her heart pounded painfully, but she did not move. Adrian pressed the elevator button, his chest heavy. He told himself leaving was the right choice, that he'd only complicate Elena's life. But behind him a door slammed open, and small, hurried footsteps echoed down the hall. Before the elevator doors opened, a tiny hand gripped his jacket. Adrian turned sharply. It was Liam, breathing hard, eyes wide, tears blurring his lashes. "Please don't leave my mom," the boy whispered, his voice shaking. "She's trying to be strong, but she cries when you're not here. She thinks you'll leave just like my dad did." Adrian's heartbeat stopped. Liam's small hands clutched his jacket tighter. "You make her happy," he said through tears. "She needs you, and I need you too." The elevator door chimed behind them, but Adrian didn't step in. He looked down the hallway where Elena stood frozen, tears streaming down her cheeks. And in that moment, one fragile, breathtaking moment, Adrian realized that fear had been lying to him all along. He had been running from the very thing he needed most. Slowly, he knelt to Liam's height and cupped his shoulders. "I'm not leaving," he whispered. "I promise." Adrian took Liam's hand, and together they walked back to Elena. She covered her face with trembling palms as he reached her. "I'm sorry," Adrian murmured. I shouldn't have walked away. Elena shook her head. I pushed you away because I was scared, she admitted. I didn't want you to get caught in my problems. He gently lifted her chin. I don't want easy, he whispered. I want you. From that night forward, Adrian became their anchor. He helped Elena prepare legal documents, connected her with a lawyer friend, and stood by her as she confronted the custody storm. He picked Liam from school, cooked meals, stayed late when Elena cried, and became the quiet strength she leaned on. For the first time in years, Elena felt like she wasn't fighting alone. And for the first time in his life, Adrian felt like he belonged somewhere. The custody battle escalated, but Adrian stayed steady beside her. When Marcus tried intimidating Elena at the diner, Adrian stepped between them, not with aggression, but with calm, unshakable protection. She's not alone anymore, he said firmly. During the court hearing, Liam was asked who he wanted to live with. He pulled out a crayon drawing, him, his mom, and Adrian holding hands. I want this family, he said softly. Adrian doesn't leave. Marcus looked away in shame. Elena burst into tears, and Adrian sat frozen, overwhelmed by the truth the little boy had spoken. The judge granted Elena full custody. Outside the courthouse, sunlight warmed their faces. Liam ran ahead cheering, but Elena stopped, turning toward Adrian with trembling hands. You changed our lives, she whispered. Adrian shook his head. You changed mine first. She took a shaky breath. If you want to walk away now, I'll understand. He stepped close, cupping her face. I almost walked away once, he whispered. I'm never doing it again. Their lips met in a soft, heartfelt kiss that sealed the promise they were both too scared to say aloud. Liam looked back, smiling brightly. So, are you my dad now? Adrian laughed, tears in his eyes, pulling him into a hug. If you want me to be. Liam nodded fiercely, hugging him tighter. And on that courthouse step, one man, one woman, one child finally formed the family they all deserved. If you loved this emotional story, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more heart-touching stories that inspire, heal and move the soul.